apparently the judge asked one of the photographers which one was Lee Haskins, and the photographer said in the red corner. And I think he asked him a couple of times and said in the red corner, and I presume he just thought in the red shorts. But frightening that your future can be put in the hands of someone like that. I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful because he's an old gentleman and I'm sure he's judged many fights, but that is just, I mean, it could have gone horribly wrong. Could have been recalled on scorecard, but what do? You know, you have to go after, did you mean to put it in the other box? Oh yeah, I did, yeah. I mean, he obviously did. It was 10-8. He scored 2 10-8 rounds to Haskins.
6 on the 11th he had.
To 10-8 to Haskins. But I mean, I went mad in the ring. Before the decision came out, I went up to the IBF player and he was like, but he scored, his scorecard was excellent. It was just the wrong way around.
Eddie, will you be appealing to...
Yeah, but I mean, I think he's 80 odd. You have to do your own research, but I think he's like 80 odd, but I've never seen anything like it.
Eddie, will you be asking for it to be appealed? You know,
no, but it will, but I mean, I presume that it will be on paper majority, the split decision will be revoked. It will be a unanimous decision. Must be. But if it's not, I don't give a monkeys anyway. I mean, it doesn't really matter if one. But I've never seen anything like it.
Can you tell us about your plans for Burnett now?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have a little bit of a break. You'll see him in a minute. I mean, he's a horrific cut. Jumbo did a brilliant job on it. He's got a mandatory because Lee Haskins had to ask for an exception to fight Ryan Burnett. So the mandatory is a guy called Emmanuel Rodriguez from Puerto Rico, who is very, very good. So we may, and we can't ask for an exception to fight anyone else because that was an exception. So the only thing we can do is have a unification. So that's what we'll be trying to do next. And I think the immediate focus is Zenit Zekianov, who is Ricky Hatton's fighter, and those two have sparred many rounds together. And the plan is for a unification fight in October.
And you'll be fighting out of Belfast?
Oh yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, I want to thank the people of Belfast because the atmosphere is brilliant, and the reason we were able to come, or the reason we were able to deliver the world title to Ryan was because of the fans. Otherwise, you know, it's been very hard for Ryan and for us, putting him on, you know, Hull, Manchester, Liverpool. For someone who is from a fight city that backs their fighters so much, to have to box him on the road all the time. He's not been built here. You know, he hasn't had Barry McGuigan. He hasn't had the King's Hall. He hasn't had all the smaller fights at the Odyssey as well. He's had to come straight into a world title headline. And I was worried, you know, when he was walking down the corridor, even in the ring, he was really quiet, like freakishly calm. And I was thinking that he might have frozen because he was that quiet, but he wasn't. He was just he was freakishly calm. And I thought he executed the game plan. To look good against Lee Haskins is really hard to do, but he outfought him, he outsmarted him, he outpowered him, he did everything. And I thought Haskins was incredibly brave because I didn't think he'd get up from those 2 right hands in, what was it, the 6th, first knockdown? 6th. And then even in the 11th, he looked like he was out as well. So he done well to survive the distance, and you know, Ryan will learn a lot from that.
You mentioned you mentioned September the other day for a second.
Yeah, well that would originally be the plan, but I can't see I'd be ready for September.
Well, do you think October's realistic?
Yeah, and I mean, Carl's going July the 29th, so I think that will be his only fight in Belfast this year. So that'll give us an opportunity to have a little, you know, space it out a little bit. That's going to sell well. Let people recover from that night, and then we'll go again in October, maybe even November. I mean, Ryan's only going to box one more time this year. So if it's October or November, it doesn't really matter. But my other concern is the other lads, mainly Hilo and Tennyson, because they've had good wins tonight, and they can now, I want them to fight the British titles on the next card as well. So I don't want to leave it too long because they'll be looking to get out as well.
So you can get more rounds in?
I hope so. Yeah, we need to because we've got to start paying him big money now.
Like 5,000 in there?
No, a bit less than that. Yeah, probably about 4.5, a bit more. But I was very pleased with that. You know, I mean, that was the kind of crowds, probably a bit more, we were getting for Frampton before the first Kiko Martinez fight. That was the night it exploded. We had like 7,000 in. But for like Molitor and fights like that, it was the same kind of numbers as tonight. So I think he should be very pleased with that. You know, like I said, not been built in Belfast. That's something we've got to work on now. You know, we've got to do all the stuff that Carl's done. We've got to go to the City Hall and, you know, let people meet him with a belt and that kind of stuff. He's your only world champion at the moment, and he's a good fighter, and he's young. You know, he's got a big future. Moving up the weights as well. Michael Conlon, one day, be a nice fight.
Say yourself, Ryan, needed to not just win, perform as well to keep coming back here and to draw the fans in. You happy?
Yeah, again. My one concern was that it was going to be a stinker, because they're both quite awkward and they're both very intelligent. But I think the cuts actually fired the fight up, because both of them were then thinking, if this gets stopped, after 4 rounds, I need to be ahead on the scorecard. So they both went at it in the 3rd and the 4th, and then they kept going. The knockdown, you know, was a big turning point in the fight. Although Haskins was ahead, Ryan was ahead, you know, and then just kept winning it round after round, hurting multiple times. But what I was really pleased about, and it's hard because I look at it from an entertainment perspective. Like, the smart thing to do from about the 7th or 8th round was just box. Do you know what I mean? Just win rounds and box. Don't get involved. But he did get involved, and he tried to stop him, which is good because the fans like that, and I was pleased with that, because although it was probably the wrong thing to do, and I was screaming at him to jump on Haskins and knock him out. Like, the smart thing would have just been just get through the rounds, but you have to entertain, and I feel like he entertained against a very tricky and difficult fighter to entertain against.
Was it the kind of performance that you've been waiting for?
Yeah, well, we spoke to him, we was like, but when I signed Ryan Burnett, Adam was like, I'm telling you, this guy is freakishly good. So I was quite excited.
Yeah.
And then we didn't really see it, did we? We saw good, solid performances, but Adam was always...
Handbrake on.
Yeah, but I don't know, that was frustrating, because, again, as a promoter, you're thinking about, I don't want the handbrake to be on. Go and take someone's head off, show, you know, entertain.
Is that one of the reasons you couldn't actually come to Belfast?
Yeah, well, the main reason was because of the growth of boxing. So originally it was about, could we come in for a British title for Ryan Burnett? Yes. Then, no, a British title's not big enough. Then, could we come here for a European title? Now then a couple of the performances were a little bit stale, and then it was like, we can only come here with a world title fight. And they're hard to find. We got a Brit, which was good as well, and we got someone that people know and is a good solid champion. So, but again, if it was a boring fight, and if it was like he scraped through, we would have still come back. But you haven't got the momentum to say, look, you've got someone here that is very, very good and actually can go on. And you'll see how good he is against the likes of Zakhianov and Rodriguez. And I believe he'll move up to super bantam, not yet, but in time. He's still got a lot of development to do, and I think confidence as well. You know, again, he hasn't had the people behind him driving him, like the fans, like making him feel like he's a superstar. He's always the kid from Belfast who's boxing in Liverpool. So I think tonight will make him grow as a person and a fighter through having that support. There's a great
in the back.
Oh yeah, great, yeah. But I think also he's a world champion. But there was a moment, you know, they were introducing him where he sort of stood there. I don't know if you saw it. He was like, and you could. That was good. You know, that was like giving him the energy to realise he is the man, because it's hard being over there when really, you know, we'd like him here.
And he's also now giving the other boys.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I wasn't sure Paul Hyland would win tonight, because he's quite decent at things down. I thought Paul Hyland looked average last time on our show at York Hall, but I think he had a point to prove, and it was a great win. Tennyson was hurt badly, and I think the third fight came back in he's going to be in a very entertaining fight. Still a baby, he's 22, 23, something like that. So I don't know how he makes super feather, let alone how he made feather. I mean, no wonder he didn't win that fight. But
would you really shoot him straight into the British title after that?
I believe so, because Ward's going to fight Kakachi. If Kakachi wins, him and Tennyson's a big fight. If Ward wins, he'll vacate, and I think Tennyson will be up for the vacant belt. So I don't see there's many more. He's fought for the featherweight title against a very good fighter in Ryan Walsh. He's come back with some good wins, Declan Garrity, and tonight against Ryan Daw. I think he's ready to fight the winner of. I think he's ready to fight Kakachi, and if it's not Kakachi, it'll be a vacant title, because Martin Ward's going to beat Kakachi. But then you've got other fighters, Tommy McCarthy. He can have a shot at something. and really good. You know, Fergal McCrory. I like the look of him. He was exciting. He sells loads of tickets. Good young talent. You know, so I think there's
Did you like
plenty.
him to push on an Irish title?
Fergal McCrory, yeah. But he's saying about him. He's, you know, he went up to his fans afterwards. I mean, he sold about 300 tickets from a different part of Belfast. He got.
He's 2 hours outside Belfast.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
They moved the GAA match for him,
Yeah.
so they could all come down. And everything, yeah. They will.
Wow.
He's from where?
Oh, the same part
Tiny,
as
tiny.
Conrad Cummings.
That's right. Yeah, they told me that. Yeah. No, but you need people like that, and the thing is about Tennyson and Highland, they'll fight anyone. They haven't been spoiled. Do you know what I mean? Like every opponent we gave them, Mark Dunlop just said, "Yeah, because they know they can't. They're not names, so they've got to be in proper fights. Otherwise, you know, as you said, you can sell it in Belfast, but there's another audience out there. So that was one of the reasons I didn't want to necessarily just put on matchroom fighters against, you know, other names, because I wanted to try and, if Ryan did win, we got a bit of momentum to bring the others on.
Would that be the same template if you go to Dublin in November for Katy, Eddie? Or?
Yeah, but I might bring Katy here. You know, I mean, I was thinking the other day to maybe come here in September and bring Katy here in September and then fight for the world title in November. So, I don't know, would we go October, Belfast, November, Dublin? I don't know, but what was it, an hour and a half from Dublin? I mean, does Katy sell in Belfast? You guys probably know better than me, you know. Actually, why not? But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the first thing is to secure a US fight, and then look at, you know, September, and she'll definitely fight for a world title this year.
Is Zakhanov, is that going to be a pretty easy fight to make?
They want a lot of money. That's the hardest bit about the fight, but they're up for it. It's a really good fight. Really, like, he's tough as nails, but he's a lot simpler than Lee Haskins. He comes forward in straight lines, and from the first bell to the last bell, he don't stop coming forward. It's a really tough fight. But Ryan actually preferred the Zakhanov fight over the Haskins fight. He sparred numerous rounds with him, and he really fancies that fight. But I think it's a very dangerous fight. But so's Rodriguez, who's a mandatory who no one's heard of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why not have the tough fight in unification? Early days for unification, but sometimes options present themselves that you have to take.
You mentioned that could be November until Burnett's ready to fight again. Is there a chance you bring Mark's boys over to Britain for fights?
Possibly, yeah. Or do a next gen over here, you know, one of our smaller shows, maybe in the King's Hall or something like that. It's an idea. Let Tennyson headline there, or Highland, or, you know, bring a couple of our other young Olympians over, bouts and those kind of boys. But again, you know, with car boxing in July, it's going to be very expensive, those tickets. So you don't want them to dig into their pocket too close to that, you know. They're doing it here, aren't they? Yeah, they're doing it here.
No, Windsor Park.
No?
Windsor Park.
Are they? It's funny, I saw a seating plan today for the fight, yeah. July 29th. So. I'm not having a dig. No, but it's a but I don't think it's a bad move. If it's not a huge fight, why take it out? So, you know. But it'll be expensive.
Yeah, I suppose overall it's first time back in Belfast yourself. It was 3 and a bit years maybe.
4 years. I looked at it this morning. It's February 2013. February against Kiko Martinez.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was so long. I mean, we do the darts here every year.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So, but you know, the fans, you know, kept looking round in between rounds, and people were like doing the conga and stuff like that, you know, like doing all this and like, and I'm glad we actually, like, Sky always ask us for the main event ring walks at 10 p.m.
Sure.
because that's the prime slot, but because of all the fights generally go on, you end up ring walking at 10:45, 11, which is probably a bit too late.
Yeah.
So actually, it was a nice time tonight, because if it was 11.
Yeah.
Everyone would have been absolutely paralytic. You know what I mean? So we didn't really have any trouble or anything like that, which was nice. I got loads of people asking me for photos and then calling me a wanker. Some bloke said, "Can I have a photo, Eddie?" I went, "Yeah," and he went, "You're a wanker." And I said, "Oh, thanks, mate, thanks." But you know what you're going to get here, which is like, the atmosphere was brilliant. I mean, 4,500, a bit more, but it felt like, you know, that felt like the MEN on a you know, another fight with 12,000, 15,000 in them.
So you say, I mean, Ryan hasn't been built here this league, we get 4,500 was
I know,
the
but
result of it.
people, we're very spoiled now. You know, you've got Wembley, you've got Kelbrook, 27,000, Tony Bellew, 17,000. They think that 4,500 is like crap. But it's a lot of tickets. Like, we would have, like 2 or 3 years ago, we would have been begging for 4,500. But it's because, I mean, Ryan Burnett took 400 tickets, right? So at the press conference, the first press conference, he came to me and I said, "Oh, you've got to sell some tickets for this." And he went, "Yeah, do you want me just to tell everyone to go to the box office?" I went, "No, I want you to take the tickets and fucking graft with them and make sure you sell them." So his mate sold the tickets, right? When we turned up at the weigh-in, normally all the fighters come back with their tickets, you know, and you're thinking, and I pull them out of their bag and you think, oh God, and you look at the wedge and you think, how many's that? Oh,
Yeah.
they've brought back. So I said to Mandy, who does the tickets, "Go on, how many did Ryan Burnett come back with?" He said, "No, none." I went, "What? Has he paid his money? The ticket money?" "Yeah. Some guy just come in and gave him money." I said to Ryan, he went, "No, he sold them straight away." I went, "You could have asked for some more." But he said, "Oh, I didn't know, you know, I did say to him, do you need any more?" But he sold them out like 3 weeks before the fight. From a guy who, like, when he boxes in England, he don't sell one ticket.
Yeah.
Not one. In fact, he has more comps than he sells. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not in that mode. You know, like the kids like Tennyson and Highland and McCrory, they know. They're so refreshing to work with because they know you have to graft the tickets. You know what I mean? You know how many tickets we had back to Mandy? Like 5s and 10s out of 200, 300. So all these lads are grafting, selling tickets. And again, if Ryan can sell there ain't a lot of tickets that sell, the fighters that sell 400 tickets, personally. Trust me, like, I know. Because most of them can't be bothered when they get to that level. But if he can do that without even trying, he's already got the fan base. I mean, if you can be from Belfast and be a world champion and be successful, you've got a great chance. You know, great chance. Lucky, very lucky.
Do you see this, Eddie, as the start of something where you can continue to have boxing here, even beyond Ryan, the way you do in Liverpool and Manchester?
Yeah,
You have a very sort of
but everything is
stop, go, stop.
Yeah, but everything is built around the headline act. So without Ryan Burnett, like if he would have lost tonight, there is no way we could come back. Not with Tennyson, not with Highland. With all due respect to them, they're British title level. They've got to be built into stars. Now we've got Ryan Burnett. So there's no reason why we can't keep coming. But all those cities you talk about, it's even like Liverpool now. You know, you got Tony Bellew, you got Callum Smith. They're the headline acts. You know, you go away into other cities, Manchester. You know, Crawler got beat. He was the big star there. Flanagan's okay, but you know, good fighter, but not really selling. So you need the big names, and without them, you can't bring TV there. You know, and although it's expensive to come here, and early on in the career of Carl Frampton, he wasn't rating, and that was the reason we couldn't come here 3 times a year. You know, that was when we had the incident in Hull, where I wanted him to box on the undercard because he beat Kiko Martinez, and Sky said, "Look, it's very expensive. It's not really rated. Could we go back in September?" So that was the interim fight. But again, you're at a stage now where if you're in world championship fights, that, you know, unification fights, it's quite easy to return and get the support of Sky to be back.
Well,
Right, James, let me go and get this kiddo. He must be ready now. There was a funny moment in the change.